So I just watched other Victories, and I'm not entirely sure who won here. Also known as Deus Ex Maximal, this is the Vox's final scheme in the show. Megatron has polluted the timeline far too much, and it is up to them to put an end to it by bringing on their strongest emissary yet, in the form of Tigatron and Airazor merged into a being known as Tigerhawk. The Vok are not the most clever with names. It's very on point, but you know what? Let's give it to them, okay? It's a cool design and a cool name that's from G.I. Joe, but never mind that. Never mind that. So this is our first time in this entire series that we actually got to see what the Vok actually looked like. Remember, in season 1, they were supposedly too far beyond what they could, what Optimus Primal could comprehend, so they had to take the form of Unicron. An egotistical choice, no, to be sure. Here we actually see what they look like in their own space. They're just floating skulls. They look like floating predator masks with the tendrils and everything, with the dreadlocks. Like, it's it's silly. Yeah, they're not as impressive as they made themselves out to be. So now it just seems like they were just trying to look more intimidating than they actually are. It's a little bit of a letdown. I was expecting more. Now, this does continue and close the loose end that was Tigatron and Airazor, because we saw them abducted by the Vok, but nothing really happened to them after that. So using this to wrap them all up is a good call. Now, because of the weird history of the Tigerhawk toy, it's hard to determine if this was Hasbro's intent or not. If it was always going to be like this for Tigerhawk's origin, or if this was just a convenient way of incorporating the toy into the show without technically introducing a brand new character at the 11th hour. We're not sure. We have no idea. So just for you who don't know, the Tigerhawk toy was kind of iffy if it was going to get released or not. Hasbro didn't know if they're going to release it. And originally it was canceled, so the show was not going to include the character. But then they decided, okay, if you're gonna use the character, the character has to be killed off. So we're gonna introduce a character and we're gonna kill him off quickly. Scripts are written, dialogues recorded, and then Hasbro goes, no, wait, we changed our minds. We're making the toy. Okay, too late now. The character's gonna be introduced and killed. So I don't know. But at least it closes off one of the lingering plot threads, right? Okay, so at least that. Tigerhawk himself displays a far more aggressive Vok attitude than they've been showing to this point. Before this, they've been far more passive, letting their devices do the work for them, or just letting chaos reign, as it were. This is the first time they've been, since season 1, that they have directly involved themselves in trying to eliminate originally Megatron, but then eventually anyone who stood in his way, because Megatron's the one causing all the damage to the timeline. But of course, he's still holding the G1 Megatron Spark, so he can't be killed. Kind of a mess here. But as an emissary of the Vok, he is just all aggression, and he does display their usual penchant to not listen to anything. So at least that's on point. When he's revived, when the Vok influence is removed and Tigatron and Airazor sparks rejoin the body, he feels very much like Tigatron. He doesn't have like any new voice or any real new personality. He recognizes Earth as his home. There's not a lot of Airazor in his depiction because, it's Blue Man Kuma doing the voice. But he does have Airazor's he has more of Airazor's flair. He has her mannerisms. So there's a little bit of Airazor in there. I would like to see a little bit more influence, but then again, hey, we've got like technically 2 episodes worth of time. So half of this episode, next episode, and the finale, he's in there for half. So like, we don't have a whole lot of time. We're just basically assuming he's Tigatron upgraded at this point. It's weird. It's a very weird choice. But overall, like, the character is very Deus Ex. He has a lot of mystical powers that are not explained. He's way overpowered to the point where it's probably a good thing he didn't last very long. All right, so let's cut to Megatron and the Predacons. So the first time we see him in this episode, they're having a trial for Quick Strike, and it's a fun throwback to some of the sillier moments inside the Predacon base from this first season that we haven't gotten in a long time. It's also showing that Megatron's kind of had it with all these traitors amongst him, so yeah, it's time to start shooting, except, yeah, that's when Tigerhawk shows up, so everyone, okay, stay of execution. Everyone man your post. Raise Sentinel. So this is what I loved. Sentinel really exists just to give you a reason for why the Maximals never went directly after Megatron anymore. Because he's got Sentinel, and they are basically encumbered by their base and the need to protect the Ark at the same time. It's a tricky situation, but this is the first time we actually get to see Sentinel active since Megatron stole it, and it does absolutely nothing. It really basically serves to show just how powerful Tigerhawk is. But even with the shield up, the Predacon base gets destroyed in one shot. He makes quick work of the Predacons too, makes quick work of Optimus Primal. He's only taken down by the usual, which is trickery from Tarantulas. So the plot here, the backside of this was why was Tarantulas trying to destroy the Ark? Because the logic here is that if the Ark is destroyed with Autobot and Decepticon alike inside, that would wipe out all of the Maximals and Predacons here. They're vague about it. They are very vague about it. So, Tarantulas hints that he and the Tripredacus Council have other origins. Now, in the next episode, Megatron is going to refer to Tarantulas as Unicron's spawn, which is something akin to our profanities. Son of a... you know what. It was a misinterpretation by the fans that Megatron literally was claiming that Tarantulas was from Unicron. And there's no real way to confirm that. I think later fiction kind of made that connection a little bit tighter. I wish they explained it a little bit better. It's left intentionally vague for us to be able to guess about and come up with our own fan speculations. I think the general consensus is he's from a separate race of Transformers that's separate from Autobot or Decepticon, obviously. And Unicron is the most likely source, but it's not the final source. I don't know. I mean, it's left to our interpretation. But this episode is also the end of Tarantulas. His experiments on Tigerhawk caused Lavok to possess him, cause a chain reaction, causes him to explode far more violently than usual in this series. Probably like an explosion you don't come back from, even if you had anyone left willing to repair you. And it's somewhat appropriate that after all of his xenophobia over the Vok, and all of his plotting and scheming to kind of get rid of them anytime they've shown up, that it was not only his own machinations, but the Vok themselves that end up killing off Tarantulas. Somewhat appropriate in the whole scheme of things. Yeah, so, and something else that's appropriate in this. So, the first episode after the premiere for this show was The Web, which was Tarantulas kidnapping Cheetor. Cheetor is the one Maximal on his feet in this episode, and he's really just doing spy work at this point until he has a chance to rescue Tigerhawk. And it takes place inside Tarantulas' lair. And I think it's really appropriate that before we get into the finale, that we go right back to one of the original confrontations of the series, Cheetor and Tarantulas in Tarantulas' lair. It's a nice little, like, bookend to, like, the bulk of the Beast Wars story. Intentional or not, it's nice. And it's also nice that Cheetor gets another episode to shine, considering he's not looked the best since his upgrade. So yeah, I mentioned that I'm not sure who won in this episode, and I really don't. So the Vok definitely didn't win. They didn't get to destroy Megatron like they wanted. The Predacons certainly didn't get to win. They lost their base. Tigerhawk didn't win. I don't even think the Maximals really won anything either. They got Tigerhawk back, but they weren't really involved in stopping the plot. You know, Tarantulas and the Vok basically wiped themselves out. Cheetor just kind of rescued Tigerhawk from the explosion that followed. So, I don't know. I think we all just, like, chalk this up as, like, at best, everyone lost except the Maximals, who were basically broke even on this one, I feel. So, overall, I'm giving Other Victories a passable score. It is a very rushed introduction to the character. It's a very overpowered character with kind of a muddy characterization and explanation. It's integral to the series, don't get me wrong, because it's the death of Tarantulas, the destruction of the Predacon base, and it's what makes Megatron play his final trump card. But ultimately, it's just not very satisfying as an episode. It doesn't feel like a return of Tigatron and Airazor. It feels like a last-minute character that is just way out of balance compared to everybody else. And it just feels like a Deus Ex wrap-up of a whole lot of storylines at once. It feels rushed. And because of the nature of the character and Hasbro's back and forth on if they're making it or not, you can kind of see why. So that is Other Victories. Join me. I will be doing a double episode for the finale, the Nemesis. We'll do part 1 and part 2 on the same day, and we will call this a series. So thank you guys for watching, and join me next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.